here we are. How we doing, everybody? There we are. Look at Sly. You got Sly back in the background, looking sharp. Do you have to? Do you have to like lotion him up every day, or how does that work?
I actually wipe him down every day. It's something I think that the cutout actually has pores in it that are leaking Crisco out of it. It's very greasy and impressive. Right?
Do you have Crisco in your house?
No. It's a joke that old people would only get. I don't know that a young Jack would even know what Crisco. Do you?
Is Crisco the same as Tender Flake? Is it all just lard?
Lard, yep.
Okay.
And lard is just like fat, right? That's what it is. It's just kind of fat, purified fat, right?
Yeah. Shortening. Crisco is a brand of shortening.
Okay. Yeah.
It was the first shortening to be made entirely of vegetable oil.
So what is Tender Flake? Because Tender Flake is lard then, right?
Lard is better than you. I think Tender Flake is also shortening, but flame you, idiot. Flake.
Sure? I'm not sure you know what you're talking about. Either way.
No, Tender Flake is lard. Tender Flake is lard, and I would think that the Tender Flake is better for you than the other stuff.
The shortening?
Mm-hmm.
So are you a butter over margarine guy?
100%. Don't have any margarine in the house.
Pinder, I'd really be curious your thoughts on this this topic.
Don't have margarine. Very much butter. The what? Things getting real tight right now. After we're in terms of what's allowed in the house and what isn't. Got to watch this and that, and is this organic? And what about that? Is this grass fed? The
grass fed. You should watch Sacred Cow. It's a great documentary, and they discuss the grass fed thing and mention that the issue with the grass fed is that once you ingest it, all of that positive grass fed that you paid extra for, it's just it doesn't.
All the benefits.
All the benefits are basically erased once ingested.
What you should do is just eat grass yourself, and then when you get sick of that, then
if you like grass, be like a dog, eat a bunch of grass, and puke your brains out.
Speaking of grass, how was everyone?
Still high.
It's funny.
Woo.
Did you get into those pocket fives, Dino, or what?
No, I didn't get into any pocket fives yesterday. I probably should have, perhaps. Yeah, no, it did not get into any of those. Friday. It's the Tower Chrysler Studios, all separately together here for the Friday program. Tower Chrysler. I was going to say, get your tire changes booked and get all that figured out. And of course, snowing in Calgary today.
Book it though for like a month out.
Yeah, book it for July. You'll be fine, I think, by then.
You get a couple months of summer tires.
Yeah. Don't rush. Don't rush down to Tower.
Put the winters on in September. You get 2 months of summers here. Is that about right, Rhett? July, August. That's it. Gonna snow every other month.
Last summer was about as nice a summer as you could hope for. It was beautiful.
It was good,
if I remember correctly.
Except when I went to.
They aren't long though. It's not a long summer. Farmers are going to be wound tight. Hey, Dean? The roads are all closed in eastern Saskatchewan, western Manitoba, storms, and highways are shut down, and the farmers should be starting seeding, and oh boy.
I know.
So last night on the broadcast for Jets and Golden Knights, horn sounds. Vegas has squared off the series at 1. Next game, they're expecting a whiteout in Winnipeg, which, the fans, and 10 centimeters of snow for game 3.
Yeah, I had heard that
Winnipeg and April.
It's potential, and the thing about that is it's not just snow, it's the blowing and everything. It's so the potential, highways shut down, a full-on winter storm, which is perfect as the NHL shifts its focus to Winnipeg. So I say, do you live in igloos there? Is that what happens in Winnipeg? No shit, no one ever wants to play for the Jets because it's the shits. Speaking of the shits, they were the shits last night. Winnipeg, solid first period, and then they were trash for the remaining 40. Rhett's Jets lose on the road and return home tied at 1.
Were they bad, or did Vegas finally start looking like Vegas in the final 40? That's kind of...
I just
Tell me.
I don't know what
I was asleep. I don't know.
I was smoking a pinner. I don't know what the hell was happening.
No, I can tell you I was not smoking a pinner or asleep. The Jets were shit in the final 40.
Okay.
And it's kind of unfortunate because Hellebuck was playing really well, made that unreal glove save if you saw it in the first period, took one right off the fucking mind, got busted open by Eichel, and he's playing his balls off. And then the game just slowed right down. It was just eventually get to the blue line and then stop and then wait for everybody to catch up. And then it was a very lackluster 40. And I guess, yeah, you open it. Now I'll say this, the Golden Knights to start the second period, because they were not good to start. They were very good to start the second period. They poured it on, but then the Jets just laid down. So again, the refrain seems to be, there's that Winnipeg team we watched for the last 2 months, just blah kind of an effort. So
yeah, shots were 17-8 after 20 minutes in favor of the Jets, and you're thinking, okay,
yeah.
Vegas, you played 4 periods. You've only had 25 shots in 4 periods. You look like shit. You're at home here, and you're staring a 2-0 hole heading into the blizzard in Manitoba. Like, get your shit together. And yeah, then things swung the other way. They got fucking 31 shots in the final 40 for Vegas. So both teams did the flip.
Yeah. You look at the names on the Winnipeg side, that tells you everything you need to know.
Mm-hmm. It sure does.
I'll tell you what. Mark Scheifele, he shouldn't have played the third period. He was atrocious. That one...
Not contributing, but actually a detriment when on the ice.
Yeah, I think it was the Stevenson goal. He loses the draw, doesn't pick up a guy he's kind of got his stick on. I think it was Stevenson or Stowe, whatever. Brutal effort for Scheifele. I don't know. It'd be very hard to watch your number one center play with that little emotion.
1-1 going home.
God.
Split. Got the split, dude.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah. I hear you. Look at old Phil. Couple apples for old Phil. Still playing. Another 82 game season. More playoff points. But I mean, in terms of the series, it's good. 6 of the 8 now. The road teams all found a way to win on the road, so that's good news.
There's
Toronto,
2 series.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Carolina and the Rangers are sitting up 2-0. Yeah, the Leafs back from the dead.
Greatest team ever.
Can't keep them down.
You saw this coming, Rhett. You must be disappointed because you wanted Gio to lose so he could play next year.
They still could lose. Depends on whether or not Hedman or Chernak come back.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of like that they each blew each other out. It's like, that just means, okay, like I feel like we got a good series on our hands. And, it's like, how's Samsonov going to play, Vasilevsky? Well, there's a 7-banger on him right there. So, all right.
The difference is Vasilevsky refuses to be pulled, right? Like,
he did.
I was watching. He just doesn't.
Right? What happened?
It's an agreement with the coach. Clearly, he doesn't want to be pulled. He doesn't care. Yeah, he doesn't care. He's like,
because what was it? The sixth goal in, the sixth one went right near the end of the second period with a minute and change. Because I was sitting there watching with, I'll tell you, with Beef. Retro, I was watching with Beef last night, and the sixth one goes in as well. Markstrom. I'm just used to Markstrom being pulled. Vasilevsky, he's got to come out. Oh, okay. The play to the end of the second period, and then it's going to be Brian Elliott in the third. And then out comes Vasilevsky. What the hell? So you think that's what it could be?
Well, someone had tweeted it that Yeah, I don't know if there was post-game comments or what, but they asked and he said, nah. So, okay. I mean,
The
you wanna
coverage
hang
down
in
here,
there?
I'm probably getting different coverage than you guys are. They said it right on the broadcast that he doesn't
Yeah.
believe in being pulled. Vasilevsky.
Well, and maybe he's feeling off, right? And this is a period where he can work on stuff. But yeah, typically it's like this thing's over. We need you, and we're traveling. We got a 3-hour flight or whatever. Like, why don't you have a little rest here?
And you look at the names there in terms of goals. It was not their night for sure. But when Ian Cole and Corey Perry provide your offense on the Tampa Bay Lightning squad, you're probably not going to win a lot of games. I'll tell you what, we don't like him. I don't like him. I don't want to lump all of us in. I don't want to paint all of us with the same brush. But Corey Perry is one of the most hateable guys in the National Hockey League. But you can't help but respect the friggin' guy. He continues to play. He is effective. He gets under your skin. He had, I was going to call it Air Canada Center, whatever the hell the rink is there, chanting, we hate Perry or Perry sucks or whatever. It's like, he's so smart. He just goes to the right areas, scores again. You can hate him, but Retro, this guy is still an effective player in his late 30s. It blows me away.
I thought he was older than that too, but Christ, he might have a couple more years left. I loved it.
Well, remember, he was in draft class as Getzy, right? And Getzy didn't feel young when he stepped away finally at the end of last year. And it's like, this MFer is still chasing cups. And
is that the Sid draft, right? That's all in the Sidney Crosby draft?
Yeah, that was the huge specimen draft. I think he was the last guy in the first round to finally play a game or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, but you're right. One of the greatest draft classes of all time. And it was Perry and Getz, both went to Anaheim, and not early. I think one was a teen and the other was in the 20s. And it was like they had two franchise pillars for a decade, a couple cup finals, won a cup. Like that was a hell of a run. And Getz didn't feel like he cut it short. So that tells you how long Perry's playing.
And you're right about Perry. He's getting a contract for next year if he wants to play.
Oh.
So he lost in the final with Montreal. He went to Montreal and played in that shitty no crowd season, loses to Tampa there. Then he signs with Tampa, lost in the final again. So he's on the Corey Perry pain tour right now. Might have missed a year in there, but yeah.
It wouldn't even be PTOs. It would, we'll give you another year. Come in and play.
$1 million.
At some point, you lose the tread on the tires. But just watching him, he's the same Corey Perry as he was last year and the year before. So now, is he a Hall of Famer?
Did you think that was the which draft?
The Sidney Crosby draft?
It was the best draft ever. I don't know if it was.
It was 2000. It was 2003. Wow. Getzy was in 2003 when Marc-Andre Fleury went first overall.
Yeah, and that was the robust draft class, I believe. That's
Corey Perry was 28th.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A couple years.
That was a FNUF draft.
Makes sense.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Number 9, Calgary.
Because remember when they went without, you lost the year of hockey there, Ed. I don't know if you even remember.
Yes, I did.
But that World Junior team. I guess that's why
I didn't need that money.
I guess that's why I'm thinking Crosby, because that World Junior team, you had Crosby and Getzlaf and Perry and FNUF. It was one of the greatest World Junior teams.
It was the greatest ever. And our boy Jeff Glass was the goalie on that team, and he didn't play in the NHL till like 33. He was Chicago got in all those goalie troubles and played Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, a Western swing. But yeah, it was that was the greatest World Junior team of all time because you had the lockout. Anyone that Bergeron would have been in there as well. All these guys that would have been in the NHL were playing that tournament. It's, lights out.
And who did Perry get into it with last night? He is so good. He's such a good spot picker. Yeah. Hall, who got dummied by Nugent Hopkins about 2 months ago. I mean, he's amazing.
Roughing, I don't know what you're talking about. Somehow Perry gets his gloves off, throws punches, and it's called roughing. Like, what the fuck is that?
And has the guy down, like, no code, no guy code, no player code. Guy's down, just keep feeding him. Keep feeding him.
Yep.
And
it's the worm.
I mean, they lost 7-2, so I guess last laugh. But so what's your feel on this series now? Is it shifts to 10?
My feel goes back to what I said after game 1. I don't give a if Hedman and Chernak are out, they're screwed. That might be the break the Leafs have finally needed. Their offense
it's
is
true.
awesome. They've got great players. And if you don't have your Norris Trophy candidate and probably number 2 defenseman, at least top 4 defenseman, as far as the Lightning are concerned, you lose your top 2 or 2 or your top 4, you're hooped. I don't care.
You look good, Dino. Here's
Thanks.
their ice time leaders from
There you
last
go. I
year's
was looking,
first.
yeah.
Sorry, Chris Johnson tweeted this last night, and I was just scrolling to find it. Last year, round 1 against the Leafs, Victor Hedman led the way in minutes, Sergachev second, McDonough third, Chernak fourth. 3 of those 4 guys are now gone. Sergachev, the only guy left. McDonough, I believe, to Nashville. Chernak and Hedman hurt. Point being, that's a pretty deep blue line when they're healthy. You take away 2 top 4, that's bad news Bears.
Darren Radish led their blue liners in ice time with 22 minutes, 24 seconds last night.
Taylor?
I'm throwing it out there because I'm just looking at the game sheet, and I mean, if I'm wrong, and it's potential that I'm wrong, but
you're right.
I printed off the summaries this morning. They have Darren Radish, 22 minutes, 24 seconds. Nick Perbix, 16 minutes.
Ugh.
And you know what? I mean, he's actually been okay, but yeah, Sergachev, 21:48.
Cole, 21.
You're not wrong, Retro.
You can't say a kid's been okay to take up.
I guess I mean
Victor
this year.
Hedman. I know what you're
No,
saying,
no.
but I'm just in general. I'm saying you
There's a
can't.
problem.
It doesn't matter. I mean, if it was Philly with Pronger and Pronger had been out, you can't lose those kinds of guys. They're the key to success.
Yeah.
Totally.
I remember the Brisebois kind of saying that when they made that deal with Nashville that included Cal Foote going the other way, it was the emergence of Nick Perbix who allowed them to be able to move away from Cal Foote. That was quite a tilt last night. That was quite a face-punching contest. Luke Schenn hanging on for dear life, and Tanner Jeannot, both of them just throwing. I was going to say that because Jeannot fights, it almost looked like it was 2 guys that could fight but didn't really know the strategy behind not getting hit, because they were throwing hard. And right near the end, there was that one uppercut. It looked like it busted Schenn wide open on the top of his forehead there. But two good guys, nobody hurt, everybody's loving it. People on their feet. That was a heavyweight tilt. How old's Luke Schenn?
If you're from Oxbow, Saskatchewan, you got to know how to toss them. I'm sorry.
Is it Oxbow?
Yeah.
One of 4 fights last night. We got them all in the Pender Report, and 3 in that game, if you include the Perry roughing minor.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of why you go get Luke Schenn. The price isn't super appealing. You can play third pair, second in a pinch, but when you're beating someone 6'2" and they want to fight, thank you for making this not have to be somebody else, Luke. Appreciate this. And I think it was Jeannot's first game back. Like, that's saying something. First game back, likes to fight guy, clearly.
Yeah, he likes to fight guy. Now, what's on my camera friggin' thing here? Whatever. There's something.
There is something.
Yeah. Got something covering the lens there?
What the hell's going on?
Come on.
Come on.
Beef is pissing around with you. He's messing with your mind.
I was going to say there was almost a 5th scrap in the penalty box last night.
Oh, baby.
Between it was because who was in there? It was Perry was in there, and we had Jeannot in there, and Maroon was in there, and then we almost had a fan. You know what? And those Tampa Bay Lightning guys, I'll tell you what, Pat Maroon's probably lucky that Johnny Banana Hoodie couldn't get in there. See, there's Banana Hoodie there.
Thanks for his
holding him back. Look, this guy's going to get in there. Big
Leafs fan in his yellow jumpsuit.
Yeah,
that's Tanner Jeannot there next to the Chiquita Banana, and he's scared for his life. Thank goodness the officials there, Dino.
Yeah, it's a good thing there's glass separating us. Now, I put this is very good.
Look at this.
It does look like the Wolverine. Yeah. Is that his Marda Loop Brewing hoodie?
Yes, for sure. I
Yeah,
can't see the kicks.
I didn't
The
know.
matching yellow kicks.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
know
Wolverine.
Yeah, unbelievable. So anyway, before we roll this, I just want to preface. So you saw this last night, and the look on John Cooper's face from the other side of the rink as he's watching this take place is he's just shaking his head. He's like, what else could happen tonight? But at the end of this, I've tagged the play-by-play call from Lightning Radio, which of course is Dave Mishkin and longtime NHLer, executive, and color commentator Phil Esposito. Yeah, so you can run it here for those that didn't see how it went down. It was a wild night in Toronto. The fans were into it. I'll just let this play out and let Mishkin and Phil take over at the end.
Activity by the Lightning penalty box. I think the Lightning are upset with some of the fans over there.
You got a fat woman who's yapping like crazy. Is that a guy with long hair? I can't tell.
Phil. He has so much disdain out of the fat
Phil,
woman.
There's some sort of fat woman or a guy with long hair.
Yeah.
It was that kind of night. Yeah, that kind
Wolverine
of night.
wants a piece. This is good stuff.
He really does.
What is he
Not nice.
punching his? What is he punching his chest for?
Well, he wants a piece, Retro. He says, Jano, you got me next. I got next.
This is where now I want that Jano to get that guy's name and have one of those celebrity fights, and I'm paying $100 out of my pocket, and there'd be thousands of people that would do it to watch Jano kick the out of that guy.
Yeah, look at Cooper. It's 6-1. The game has just diminished to this nonsense, and now you've got a guy in the stands calling out one of his players to scrap. He's like, "What the fuck is going? Get us
after he
outta
just
here."
that Jano just had one hell of a fight too. Like,
oh yeah,
and you're the tough guy that's going to tune him in now, Mr. Man in the yellow hat. Oh my god!
So the last
wasn't that Curious George?
Yeah.
Is that the guy from Curious George? The guy in the yellow hat? I don't know. Hard to say.
Cup win, Stanley Cup Finals lost to Colorado. That's their last 3 years. And John Cooper's thinking, I got 2 of my top 4 out. Had a pretty regular season. Again, that heading into that last Thursday of the regular season, the Flames are 3 points back at Tampa.
Close up.
We always just thought, hey, well, they'll just flick the switch, Rhett. They'll be fine. But coming home split ain't the worst, but it feels like the pressure might be switching in that series a little bit.
I don't think there's a momentum to this series. The only momentum, and a broken record, what's Hedman's injury? What's Chernak's injury?
Yeah.
There's your momentum.
Yeah. That's your point. The Leafs have been on the wrong side of a lot of, bounces in round one. If those
Kadri
two guys are gone,
acting like an asshole a few times in Toronto and screwing things up, and even
the loss they do have is Bunting's over 3, but the knees, can step right in, and he looks really good.
Well, and it's awful to say, but Bunting being out and taking out Chernak, probably the Leafs are okay with that.
So that'll be the primetime game Saturday, Hockey Night in Canada.
Ooh.
I can't stand. Sorry, I'm swearing, but Leafs fans and Leafs media need to just F off. It's just painful. It's so painful.
Wish I'd have grabbed it. The post game, and you would have again, Retro, because you have a hard time with media questions anyway. Did you see that one, Pinder? The Cooper post game, because he was asked about with the addition of Ryan O'Reilly, how does that change things with the centerman? He's like, how does it change? It's like, give me points, Cirelli, and whatever his third line center, that Paul from Audi. Give me points, Cirelli and Paul any day against anyone in the league. anyone in the league and then just gets up and leaves. Because it's basically Toronto fanboys and girls asking questions, basically saying, you got your ass kicked, hey?
How good are the Leafs? Hey, Mr. Cooper, do you want to comment on how great the Leafs are?
That's it. Yes. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Can you believe how good the Leafs are?
Do you?
Tavares had a hat trick. That's good, hey? That's 3. Did you know that's 3 goals? That's a lot in one game. That's pretty good.
And I'm even more on Tampa Bay's side now because that fucking Coach Keefe puts out his top fucking unit. I wish someone jumped in I would have shot a slap shot into the bench at him. Oh,
what's the score and what's the game time and the time in the clock here? Remind us.
Fucking 6-1 with 10 minutes, not even left. Honest to God, I know where their bench is. I know where the third period is. I know when I got the puck, I would make a cross ice pass that was errant. The puck must have bobbled on that pass, and it would be going 100. Well, as fast as I could pass it, 100 miles into their bench. Oh, oops.
And Warner looks like he bobbled that, and that nearly hit Steve.
Yeah, 7 in a row. Every time I got the puck, I'd be shooting it at that prick.
15:06 of the third period. 15:06. So this is the last 5 minutes of the game, to Rhett's point. A power play goal to Tavares, Marda, and O'Reilly.
Cheeky prick Tavares, too. You see that? I made a nice goal. I got a hat. Fuck. Hate the Leafs.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Hate him. And he's a chicken shit anyway.
Oh.
Just keep looking at your
YouTube
stick
clip for the day.
It's like, geez, I fired another one wide. What the hell's going on? Depot.
Warner.
Depot, what's wrong with my sticks? It keeps going off the toe of my stick. I can't fucking figure it out. Sorry, guys. Hey. Sorry, Sheldon. I don't know what the hell's going on over here. Terrible.
So 6 series are tied 1-1.
Yeah.
The 2 that are not, Carolina's in on Long Island tonight at the first ever playoff game at UBS Arena. So the Islanders gonna have to get something going here, or they're cooked. And the other one is the Rangers, who just stole 2 on the road and are heading back to MSG. I feel like 1-1, we know where we're at, but where are you at on these 2-0 series?
Whoa. They didn't steal shit. They went in and just said, here, we're going to take those, okay? We're across the river. We're going to bring them back over to the MSG here. We'll take these 2. Thank you very much. I think the Devils are cooked. I think that Shesterkin's going to be too good, and I think the Rangers' offensive depth is too good, and I don't think the Devils are ready for the big stage. So,
2 games, 2 goals for the Devils, 1 on a penalty shot, 1 on the power play. Nothing 5-on-5 offensively for the Devils. Yeah. And Kreider, 2 more power play goals. It's amazing, right? And we've seen it over the course of time. There's lots of guys that are great in front of the net and can tip it, but he's been one of the best in the league the last 3 years at doing this. He had that 50-goal season. There you have it. Kane, 3 points.
Kreider. Postseason.
Yeah,
Fox.
It feels over for sure.
Yeah, I don't feel the same way with Carolina because of how close they've been, but the 2 Rangers games have both been decisive. And whether the chances maybe were closer, no one's surprised if Shesterkin outplays Vanacek. So if the Rangers are slightly better and pumping them and getting better goaltending, good night.
Well, that's the problem, right? Is that the Rangers beat them soundly, outshooting them, scoring more. They haven't even had to rely on Shesterkin to win them a game. Right. And I think he's more than capable of it. So,
if this one ends in Friday. 4 or 5 games, that will be an absolute stunner when you think of all the series that fans and we were looking forward to seeing. This one had all the makings of an absolute banger, but they have not been great games so far. They've been
got to win game 3
can turn around.
Otherwise, you don't even watch it, right? Like Devils have to have 3.
Shesterkin, decent. Sturkin. And then Seattle, still proven to be a handful for the Colorado Avalanche. Up 2-0 and then end up losing 3-2.
They were dominating the first period.
Felt kind of like the Vegas game. Like these underdogs, Winnipeg and Seattle, getting leads, tough out, playing pretty sound structurally, not giving up much to the other team. And then both Vegas and Colorado found the gas pedal
But
in the later stages.
that Siv Georgiev, though, those 2 goals he gave up were terrible. You want to win in the play.
hey?
Well, if you want to win in the playoffs, you can't give up those goals. I mean, you know the guy's on the backhand on the wall. You know all he's going to do is pass it to the front. If you're a goaltender reading the 2-on-1 play, Christ, you don't even have to stay in the net. You could come out and take away the pass. Play it like a D-man if you're not going to stop it. Like, you know the guy on the wall is not shooting it. There's no threat. He's going to throw it out in the slot, and he's still oops, got through me. And the second one's a shot that beats him. Yeah, it's a good shot, but you want to win? Stop the puck.
So off to Seattle for games 3 and 4.
We'll see. Should be fun.
There's no way they can come close to what Vegas did, right? Because Vegas, in terms of the game production, when Vegas first landed that first season and we saw playoff hockey at the Fortress, it set the whole, it was like it set the sporting entertainment world on its ears. Have you seen, look what they're doing in Vegas, to the point that they were broadcasting, remember? They were showing the entire pregame show that they had. They can't, I don't think, do anything similar. But I haven't talked to anybody. Have you talked to anybody that's been to a game? I'm sure the rink is nice, but I really haven't heard anything about the in-game production.
It's the best rink on earth. It's the nicest arena on earth. They just spent over $1 billion US on it. It's phenomenal. Like, everything's got this underwater theme that matches up with the whole Kraken vibe. Like, there's not pillars. There's fucking, like fish tanks around pillars. Everything is through the roof. It's state of the art. I think the fans will be wound up. Rhett, it depends how many of those hippies smoke a joint before they go in, right?
Yeah, couple.
It's not going to be Vegas. It's not trying to be Vegas. It's going to be a different vibe. But, I remember watching the first game ever there the last 2 falls ago, and you're like, this is pretty impressive. They're fired up. There's only one first playoff game ever. They'll be rowdy.
Do they have a pot smoking section in there? In the rink, I know that there used to be smoking
just outside,
sections.
Like at the airport where you let your dogs take a shit.
Right.
It's just outside.
Is there a safe injection site in the concourse? What's going on there, Rhett?
Do they have like one area set out just for hacky sacking?
Yeah,
like just for
sure.
Hacky sack rentals. You don't need to bring your own.
Yeah. Come on down. We got some Frisbee throwing contests ahead of the game. Win yourself a pack of pre-rolls.
you know, and there's so many kids, you'd have to really have some like gummy police to make sure that the
not sure.
Okay, those are good. Those are the Haribo
they're
gummy bears. That's right. It's the weekend. That means let's get on the deck, the patio. Let's get outside and throw some delicious meat on the grill. Bon Ton Meat Market opened its doors in 1921. It's AAA Alberta beef, the best free-range poultry, grain-fed Alberta lamb. Yeah.
Does your day look like that? Is that where I should be grilling? Huh?
That guy was driving awfully fast. No. What kind of neighborhood are you living in? Don't let your kids outside. Looks dangerous.
Don't.
Alberta pork, Alberta beef. It is only the best at Bon Ton Meat Market. Calgary Consumer Choice Award winner for Best Deli Meat Market 28. Crowfoot Circle Northwest, bontonmeatmarket.com.
It's a beef rib kind of day, Dean. Get yourself some beef ribs.
It is. Yeah, it's a wet, snowy, blah kind of a day. Yeah.
Yeah, you had said you weren't coming in, and I said, figured. And yuck, it's gross out. No need to be out commuting in this shit. Fireplace, soup,
weather related.
Anyway, week closer to the end of winter, maybe.
I was going to bring this up yesterday, and then we got off on a different tangent talking about, I guess, the roster and for the Flames, obviously, and where you go from here, and it's like, what are we getting? What can you get for Nazem Kadri? We weren't really going to have that conversation, but I wanted to and it's not looking like I'm not trying to double down on things that we have said to say, see, we're right. There's other people who think the same way. Obviously, that's the way it should be. But Wes Gilbertson, Wesley, in the Calgary Sun a couple days ago, and I tried to get him on. He's been he's avoiding us, or he's busy. It could be one or the other.
Well, he's got
but
a
just
very,
talking,
very, expensive retainer to get him on.
He had some. It sounded like it was some sort of an onboarding thing he had to do. Sounded like a lot of fun. You know, those corporate things.
Ugh.
What's the name of this article? You can go online and read it, obviously. Is Craig Conroy ready to be GM of the Calgary Flames? Published a couple days ago. And he kind of walks through all of the data and everything else. And just something that kind of popped out to me. Conroy would definitely be a popular pick, says Wes. The 51-year-old has so far totaled 21 seasons on the Flames payroll, 9 as a reliable two-way center, including 1 winter with the C stitch on his number 24 jersey, and a full dozen in a suit and tie. He was Iggy's sidekick and then Tree's sidekick. Is it now his turn to be the main man? Isn't this the exact opportunity the organization has been grooming him for? A quote from Brian Burke. No question. The plan was for Connie to be GM one day. Ken told me that. That from an Eric Francis article in, anyway, it's from Francis's article. The late Ken King isn't the only one who could see that potential. 6 years ago, Conroy was a finalist to be hired as GM by the Buffalo Sabres. He seems fit to fit the criteria that Maloney offered, the younger, progressive, inventive, which he rolled out at the press conference. And then the last part here. Then again, you have to wonder why after Treliving's exit, Conroy wasn't at least handed the reins on an interim basis. If he was the next in line, shouldn't that have been a no-brainer? So again, it comes back to something we talked about. I guess it was the next day. I'm not looking to, honestly, I'm not, it's another guy who covers the team, has been covering the team for a long time in Wes Gilbertson, who, that's his perspective on it. And I know that was kind of, at least for Rhett and I'm not looking to exclude you, Pinder. I get your point, but it felt like, if not a slap in the face, it was just kind of a why.
Unusual.
Why is this not just, he's the next guy. He's been the AGM for a while. Is that not what you've been doing?
If he ain't
So
ready
what does he
now,
want?
what the hell's going to change?
Yeah, that's fair. Now, look, that's a lot of tenure for a former player. It's not a lot of tenure for a front office guy. There's people that have worked in front offices for 3-4 decades that never get a sniff around GM. They clearly were grooming him to be GM. But I guess to your guys' point, from the outside, we don't know what Craig did. It's like, oh, he was the guy that said we got to put a claim in, or don't trade that guy, or we got to get this guy. He's going to be really valuable, or like, let's find this guy to coach this team. Like, we don't know any of that. All that falls into the GM's decisions. The Flames would know. They've watched. They have okay, in this meeting, this is what Craig said, and this is what Brad said. They'll know more than we do on that front. But my only pushback on just giving it to the guy is, has Craig been watching a really, really functional, progressive organization? Is he best in trade, like best in class in terms of AGMs around the league? Or is he just the best guy they have internally? Certainly he's the best guy they have internally, I'd suggest. But I think it's a free audit of the organization. It's a free opportunity to get ideas from other guys. And also there's a lot of AGMs that are very, very good at, their jobs that you don't want to hear from them. If Craig doesn't get this job, I'd understand him feeling a little bit snubbed. But the notion that things have been so good here that the next in line's obviously the best candidate, I'm not quite there. He might be, but I would suggest there's better run management teams over the last 12 years than the one he's watched.
And I can't dispute that. For me to sit here and say that without a shadow of a doubt, Craig Conroy is the most qualified, the smartest. This is you're setting your franchise back. I don't know, but you said it right off the start. He's been groomed to be the GM. He's been doing that as 12 years. If you've been grooming him, and this has been everyone's plan, his and yours, the only thing, and somebody brought it up to me, and I don't want to mention it doesn't matter. You also have Brad Pascal, who is an assistant GM. He's kind of been in charge of the Wranglers. He's probably going to want himself in the mix for this job. Is it out of respect for him and just the whole procedure that maybe
But
that's
so-
part of why.
So that speaks to part of the issues that have been what Pinder's pointing out, that maybe this hasn't been the best run, because that was a confusing thing too when they had Tree and Maloney and Pascal and Conroy all doing, we're not exactly sure what, because we're not privy to what everybody's role was. I think you got a decent idea what Pascal's dealing with, the Stockton Heat and now the Wranglers. Anyway, Pinder is opposite of me, where Pinder, and I'm speaking for you, Pinder, and you can argue it if you want, but Pinder would be not anti-ex-player, but don't hand an ex-player something without proving that he earns it, and would be more inclined to give someone that wasn't an ex-player and has worked his way up just through the management side and has a statistical background or a whatever background.
Sure.
Pinder would hold that in higher regards than I would, and I would be more on the Craig Conroy side, where he's an ex-player. He knows what it's like to go into Madison Square Garden and play. He knows what it's like on a Tuesday in January to play. You can learn the other stuff. And here's what I honestly think. I think Craig should get the job. He's been groomed for it. He's put in his time. He's never bitched. He's never moaned. He's got a good rapport with the city. He will have a good rapport with the kids. He will have plans and thoughts of his own. And Craig Conroy, when and if he gets the job, should go out and immediately hire the next best guy of Pinder's ilk to support him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
don't have to take the reins and say F off to everybody else. There's been, I think there's been a bit too much of that in the Flames organization, where we got our guys and we don't need to talk to anyone. Like, fuck, they should talk to Lanny McDonald every day or whoever. But that's not how it works. Now, who is it? The guy in St. Louis. Oh my God. Armstrong?
Doug Armstrong.
Okay, yep.
Doug Armstrong, GM. He talks to all the alumni guys and gets their take on things all the time. You do not have to use it. It's information, and I think that Conroy would be open to new trends and that sort of thinking, where bring in the best guy that's, and I'm just saying stats because I'm too stupid to have a better term to use, but a more of a Dubas background type of deal. Bring in that other guy to support you. You don't have to take the reins and try and do it all yourself and you're the decision maker. Get guys to give you as much info as you can get and compile it in your head and then make your decisions. Don't be a stubborn prick thinking I've got all the answers and I'll do it myself. Nobody's going to question.
I think Craig's a really good candidate. Like, I don't want this to get confused. Like, me saying good process is talking to other people doesn't mean I don't think Craig would be a really good GM. Like, he naturally is very collaborative. Like, he's a guy that enjoys talking to people and sharing ideas. That's obvious with any interaction with him. He would have been in a lot of contact with, the American League team, which Pascal has run. He sees a lot of the kids. He's done a ton of scouting. We've checked in with him over the years, and it's like, oh, I'm in Russia. I'm here at this tournament. I'm watching this junior kid play. It's been pro scouting and amateur. I think he's probably seen a lot of what Chris Snow in that department does with analytics, which I think is very important for a modern GM. I think it's more important than it has been. This is a game where you've got 32 teams and 32 really smart guys. Where can you find a tiny edge? Where can you find a little market inefficiency where you can save a little money and or get a little bit of a better player than maybe traditional practices would have? I think he's a really, really strong candidate. I think if he's not going to be a good GM now, he's never going to.
Never.
So
No.
I'm with you that it's time to give him a shot. I also think there's a lot of really, really, really good people that have done, like Craig, a lot of work in a lot of the fields for a long time that I think also are ready. And, it's sometimes patience is the hard part, but I think Craig's going to end up with this job. I do. And I think that's fine for the Calgary Flames. And it opens an interesting pathway to what this management team could look like. I also think I'd want to talk to, you know, like Chris McFarland of the Avalanche and Eric Tulsky of the Carolina, just because I might learn something. And I might say, oh, why are you guys better at drafting than we are? Because if we knew the answer to that, you know, we would be better at drafting. Why don't you blow your brains out in free agency? How do you do so well on goaltending? It's a free opportunity to talk to those cats. And I'd want to talk to Carolina and Colorado.
Yeah, Robert, I was just going to say, Robert Munich at FlamesNation.ca. If you go to the website, he put an article out a couple days ago about potential candidates, and he brings up Eric Tulsky, kind of in that data-driven candidate category. Carolina Hurricanes assistant GM. Jason Karmanos, assistant GM with the Carolina Hurricanes, Pittsburgh Penguins. Also brings up Sean Burke's name, Mike Fuda used to be with the Los Angeles Kings. And some of them are because of Daryl ties. Daryl with Bob Murray, former Ducks GM. We talked about him. They obviously from Chicago, going back to a long, long time ago. But Mike Fuda was the AGM in LA when Daryl was there. So I don't know. I won't lie to you. From my standpoint, I'd like to see Craig get it. But not because, and that's like, just don't be the old boys club. Don't be the Oilers. I'm not saying go out and find some guy that played for the team and give him the job just because. Conroy has been groomed for it. He quit mid-season, right? That's how that all kind of shook down. He was playing, and
I was gonna ask, how many guys has he worked under or for? Daryl?
Feaster would have been his first.
Are you sure it wasn't Daryl?
I'll check, but I thought for Feaster carved that role out to special assistant to the GM.
Maybe.
Yeah, I could be wrong. The first place my head went was Feaster.
It'll be close. It's in that era, but yeah, he's
all the
seen
Daryl
a couple
collect
of
special assistants. But yeah,
it does. Yeah,
doesn't matter.
I'm just trying to think
retired.
of a random name. It's not like you're going and saying, hey, Marcus Nilsson, do you want to GM the team because you played? And it's not that. He showed an interest in the management side of the game while still playing, and then immediately afterwards. He went right upstairs and has been there ever since. So it's not old boys club necessarily. It's
just that every organization
has in place. Yeah.
Like Pat Verbeek's the GM in Anaheim. Was anyone a year ago saying Pat Verbeek, if the Flames have Craig is not an unusual situation. Most NHL teams have a former player that is getting groomed to be a GM. I'd want to talk to a bunch of them. You know, like if Verbeek hadn't been hired by the Ducks, are you talking about him? Is he on your radar? Should he be? Or do we only really know our own organization's last decade of AGMs? It feels like who knows an out-of-market AGM? Like it's a black box. You know the GM and you don't even know who's helping or what their file is.
And we can move on. It was something that I saw the other day. I would just say that if he's not your guy now, then he needs to go. And you should have let him go long ago. If you really were 5, 6, 7 years into this whole thing, and ownership, we love Craig, but he's, just keep him on the payroll. But he's never going to be the GM. Then let him go and go to some other team.
If that's what
I don't think that's the case.
If that's what he wants.
And it was Jay Feaster when he started. Yeah. He played the 10-11 season, 18 games, then moved up. Feaster took over in December 2010. So there's that.
The one thing that he does have is an understanding of how things work here. For good or bad.
Yep.
For good or bad, right?
Managing up, he'll understand, right?
Yes. No. Maybe somebody else would be coming in and say, no, we can't operate this way, Mr. Edwards, and then maybe he can get the ear of the owner and make him understand differently. I don't know, but he will understand how things operate in that down at the Saddle Dome.
No question. And I think to be really fair, I'd love to hear from other guys. I wouldn't expect top candidates to come here. I just wouldn't. I know there's only 32 jobs, but if you're Chris McFarland or Eric Tulsky and you feel like it's only a matter of time, I want full autonomy. I don't want to have to deal with some of the conditions that are present here. But
because those guys too, right? They'll be under that working agreement. You're going to be the next guy here, right?
Potentially,
like Eric
yeah.
Tulsky. Eric Tulsky probably. It's who's the GM in Carolina? I always forget his name. Donnie Waddell. He's not going to be doing it forever. Probably the plan there is he has been groomed, and you are going to. There's a plan in place. So I'm with you.
Tulsky's a different cat too. Tulsky's not a front-facing chat with the media guy. Like he's just not. He might be forever like a senior VP, AGM type, or you just have to have a president that can talk to the media. He's not socially not like most GMs in this league in terms of like a lot of the job is talking about the team and being the face. That's not him.
Man, some of those guys we have no idea. They might be getting compensated in the same manner that a GM is, and they might have as much say in those situations. They might not need to leave to feel like they're running teams, right? Like you just don't know.
Vina Nova, Calgary's lab-grown diamond specialists. You walk in the doors at Vina Nova, and you are only going to see lab-grown diamonds. No confusion. And what does that mean? It means, well, these ones that I'm looking at, I'm not going to be paying crazy money. Or if I'm paying big money, I am getting a significant gem, a jewel for my significant other. Spring is engagement season. You can be confident in knowing the prices are, in a lot of cases, 80% less compared to mine diamonds, pretty much across the board. Due to the identical nature, lab-created diamonds have the same hardness and light refraction as a natural diamond. Gemologists themselves often have a hard time, and sometimes it's impossible to tell them apart. Visit vinanova.com, see them at their downtown showroom on the second level of Stephen Avenue Place, and mention Barn Burner. I don't think it saves you any money, but
just say
they'd be, yeah, how about those Flames? You'll have a little hockey conversation, and then you can talk about the lab-grown diamonds.
So with your eyes, Dean, you can't tell the difference between the mined and the lab made.
I can't.
Even if you squint.
I have no idea.
Poor bastard.
Happy Valentine's Day, babe.
Let's do the
Pender Report. Village Honda in the Northwest Auto Mall, online villagehonda.com. We've been saying it for a while. Get your piece of the $1 million buy-in event, cash for your used vehicle. Village is paying top dollar. They'll even throw in a tropical cruise to boot. What more do you need? Good heavens, people. They are doing everything to get your business here. See more at villagehonda.com or head there in the Northwest Auto Mall. Village Honda brings you the Pinder Report.
It was a fight-filled night last night, and for our Friday Pinder Report today, we're going to start with, something we thought, this could be a real good game, and if the Leafs aren't going to show up tonight, well, bury everyone and rename the franchise. It's been that bad. 7 first-round exits in a row. Last night, Game 2 against Tampa. Needed to get on even terms. We could show you the 7 goals, but what about the 3 fights, Rhett? These are like a rare delicacy now, all of a sudden. A playoff scrap. Let's go. So first one on deck. I believe we got your old pal who you're cheering against, Mark Giordano, skating around, and watch for Zach Bogosian here.
Cheering for.
This is a Rhett fight, too. This is good strategy. Throw hard, get to the deck.
Yes.
Bogosian didn't have a chance. Gio may or may not have landed 1 or 2 there, but he got a couple healthy cuts. And the former Flames captain, all right, 1-0, and the tone's already been set. Let's watch it again. Rhett, give us your thoughts here. Camera gets there late, which kind of sucks.
Yeah. I like the Gio came in.
Let's
have a go here. Gonna do this.
That's right.
He's a little old to be picking fights. Oh, really went after him. Oh, good for my old boy. My old roommate.
What year? Or years?
Well, it was just one night, but I wasn't there in the morning when he woke up.
That's right. That was the Christmas party. Hey, Gio, why don't you come over for Christmas? That sounds great.
Yeah.
Wakes up the next morning, Rhett and the shoveler on an airplane to Saskatoon.
Second fight of the night. Here we go. It's a gooder. Jeannot and Luke Shen. It looks like Schen's in trouble here, but watch him land a couple and get the helmet off right away. There we go. Lefts.
I don't know why he didn't keep going.
It's a turn.
He got him good there. That
First
Geno's a tough prick.
Right there. That uppercut cut him.
Caught him not. Good lick.
Yeah.
Surprising that Schen can't throw a right. I hate lefties, but
we should, like you said,
maybe he's got a bad shoulder. Hey, maybe his
no,
shoulder.
What the hell was that?
But if he's a lefty, why did he? He's all
he's really waiting to throw
good.
lefts. Yeah,
He's a lefty.
4 in a row there.
Keep going, Shen.
He should have thrown 8 in a row.
Yeah, he's going good. Last one, technically not a fight, even though Corey Perry, the worm, got his gloves off and was hammering kidney punches. It's Hull and Perry behind the net. Let's have a peek at that one, too. 6-2, 7 minutes left.
Old Patty
Gio
Maroon
lost.
wanted to beat up Gio here.
Yeah. Good decision, Gio.
Just still swinging, hey?
Ugh. He is one of the great villains of all time. He really is.
He really is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why can't?
To me, he's beyond Brad Marchand as far as a villain. I know there's a lot of people that, again, Marchand was licking guys' faces and stuff. He's cleaned his act up a little bit. But, and he just relishes in it. He loves
Still
it.
a weasel. Yep.
I should absolutely love this guy.
Rhett
I
made the
should.
point.
I
It's
should
a good
absolutely
one,
love
you know.
this guy. He's just such
Yeah,
a
you,
goddamn
we know
rat.
where you've worked. We've seen too much of his work in these parts in the Pacific Division or the old Northwest, whatever they want to call it. There was a 7th goal from the Leafs that highlighted had it at 6-2, a power play goal with 5 minutes left with the top power play unit out there, Rhett.
Yep, 5 on 3. We're going to run it up.
Okay.
Good thinking.
Oh, you know,
Send a message.
Yeah,
That's the playoffs.
great
You gotta
message.
Send a message.
Great message. Yeah, the message is we're going to do everything we can to piss you off even more. Like, I guess, hey.
No lead is safe,
Got the
Rhett.
gun.
We've talked about all these blown leads. They were going to blow a 4-goal lead with 5 left, right?
Now, is there a chance this is stemming from something else? If not this year, then going back to last year's playoffs? Because you're right.
I
It's
just wanted
late
to be
third
confused.
with a 4-goal lead. I
Don't.
just wonder if... You're
Listen,
even
I
true.
hate the Leafs, so I'm probably overreacting to it. But
It's something, though,
Others-
Rhett. It's not nothing.
no, it was a deliberate something, whatever it might
Yeah.
be.
7-2, your final there. We got a good series, I think. Although, to your point, if 2 of the top 4 defense are going to be gone for Tampa, maybe we don't. Maybe this is, hey, you look good in game 1 and good night. But
I think
Tampa will
she's
be
a
wound
big
up at home.
uphill. It'll be a
Mhm.
big uphill. They'll be wound up, but those guys are. Oof, that's a tough loss if they're not playing.
worse place than the one the Lightning are in is one the Devils find themselves in. They are down 2-0 to the Rangers. They were on home ice. They were the favorite in Vegas. Now they have to go to MSG. Not a lot of good news. They lose 5-1. There was a tilt as well. Let's take a peek. We had, was it Michael McLeod? Let's take a peek. Rangers Devils. Late.
Michael
Tone
McDonald.
setting. Oh, corner.
China Grove. What a fool believes.
Got some of that frustration. And that's Braden Schneider.
Going all right too.
Yeah, a couple of young. Ornery
Braden
cusses
Schneider, he's
there, eh?
tough. Former Brandon Wheat King.
Lots of
Yeah.
mop there. He's got to fight through.
God, I'd love to be able to have hair like that. If I could grow hair, I'd just let her go.
Mr. Window,
so
Dean,
good.
I think. A couple of guys with hair beyond their noses. Not bad. Good work, young fellas.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5-1, not good. 2 more for Kreider. He's up to 4 in the postseason. Adam Fox has 6 assists. Don't have to worry about him passing the puck. You said he had a muffin. That's why? Is that what it was?
Can't shoot.
Winnipeg
You know
and
what?
Vegas.
Hey, I was just gonna say, Tarasenko back in the playoffs, loving it. Scored the other night,
Yeah,
scored
and
again.
Patty Kane got his first 2. Yeah.
The big
Lots of weapons.
acquisitions. Yeah.
Let's go to Vegas, where the Winnipeg Jets looked very good early. That's your final. It wasn't pretty, but how about this save early on to help the Jets keep an early lead. I believe this is at 1-0 or 0-0. Hellebuck, right after getting his eye, above his eye cut, somehow goes post to post here and holds this out. They think it's in, and maybe we won't be able to see it. Nope. That's out the whole way. He falls in. It's in the glove. He keeps outside the post. It might not have been an inspiring Final 40 rep, but they still got Hellebuck.
If they could sit Scheifele, they'd be in good shape.
It's not been a great year for the Scheifele reputation.
It's just brutal. Connor could have had 3 goals in the first period. He was flying around in that first period, and then it was just nothing. It was every time you.
Then the hangover
Kevin
kicked in. And they
Stenlund.
couldn't.
Yeah, that's right.
This game was great.
Didn't Friedman say that the Knights are being pricks? Did you read that?
Yeah, that was walk back. Apparently, there was a rumor of the Golden Knights removing all the pedals from exercise bikes, and then later, closer to game day, or after game day escape, closer to warm up, there was a Winnipeg reporter saying, "Yeah, no, there was one bike that was missing one pedal, so they put it in the hall." That's it.
Oh,
so
it's almost the same thing. Yeah,
over the
fucking.
I kind of wish it was true.
Yeah.
I do too. I don't mind them being a villain as well. Mark Stone is back. He looked rough in game 1, a pair last night, and that led us to the tweet of the night by any NHL franchise. Let's go to social media for the Vegas Golden Knights. I like this one personally. Nothing like getting Mark Stoned on 420.
Way to go, Vegas.
Yeah. They used to be on fire all the time on Twitter. That's a banger though, right there. Love that.
I worry about
the last
Stone.
one.
I think he's going to get hurt again.
They jumped on him after the goal. I'm like, guys, he just had back surgery, and he's smiling. And then they turned him on the bench, and he's wincing. I'm like, Seattle, Colorado, early on. You'll like this. Brother of Chris Tanev, Brandon, the famous I saw a ghost stock photo on the NHL's website, the former Penguin, scores a goal early, and look what he does. This is beautiful. To make it 1-0 Seattle, shorthanded goal, blows a kiss to some old guy's wife, and then they start the celebrations.
She blew one back.
And the husband's like, ha, 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 this is great. Yeah, how was work today, bud?
Yeah, cock.
Not so funny anymore. He would have the last laugh. Colorado rallies for 3 unanswered to win 3-2 over Seattle. It was bang, bang to tie it. Took a while for the Avs to get going, but finally get a W, and they got to Philip Grubauer, the worst goalie in the league last year. This is hope for Jacob Markstrom, right? That he's good again. God, he was bad. Not Markstrom, Grubauer, both, really. 1-1 there as they head back to Seattle. So here we are, 6 series, tied 1-1. 2 series or not. We talked about it. Carolina in the driver's seat going to Long Island. Rangers in the driver's seat coming home. The rest are 1-1. Feels like we got a pretty good first round, Dino. Doesn't look like a lot of short series necessarily.
Rhett, you said it. I think the Kraken are going to give the Avs all they can handle. I think this. I think the Devils are. I think the Devils are hooped, and I'm with you. I don't. Unless we know more about Chernak and Hedman, it's hard to have a gauge. If they come back, then I think you've got one. But potentially, if you're without those 2 guys, that's a lot of minutes. Those are solid defenders against that Leaf offense. It changes a lot for me anyway. But yeah, I think the Kraken are going to be a handful for sure.
That's last night. Let's look at tonight. 4 more. Back and forth we go. It's been a nice balanced schedule so far. And some scene switches here. First ever postseason game at UBS Arena. UBI, Dean, you all right? That's where you're at home today. For the Islanders, they need a win. Panthers have to be feeling good. They handed Boston one of their worst 2 or 3 games of the year in a Game 2 victory. They scored, 4 in the third period. Sam Bennett back. Alex Lyon remains somehow their best goalie. Team that's got, $14 million committed to Spencer Knight and Sergei Bobrovsky. It's Alex Lyon, the 30-year-old journeyman in net. And then back to St. Paul we go, where it'll be Philip Gustafson tonight, Marc-Andre Fleury against the high-flying Dallas offense, and the Kings back at home against the Oilers. They split, and they erased 3 2-goal deficits, and yet I still feel worried for the Kings.
Yeah. I look at this Boston, Florida, because there was some bad blood at the end of that one, and same with Dallas and Minnesota. I want Boston to win, I do, but I would love to see Florida dig in and make this a hell of a series.
Did we hear about
go ahead, Rhett.
Bergeron? Why he played that last game?
Here we go. So right to the Bergeron news this morning. He didn't play game 1, didn't play game 2. Game 1, they were saying, it's always illness. We got an illness running around. Game 2 is like, he's not sick anymore. So, it's okay. And he did leave game 82 with injury. Didn't play a lot the last 2 weeks. Didn't even travel to Florida, Rhett. So no Bergeron game 1, 2, 3, and 4, as Jim Montgomery, their new head coach this year, says game 5, potentially Bergeron's playoff debut. That's not ideal.
Did you hear the personal side of this story, though?
Oh, go ahead.
About why he played game 8? I thought I read somewhere that his father's battling cancer, and they're from Montreal, and he wanted to play that game for his dad.
Okay, did not
know that. I might be reporting completely off base.
Could it be erroneous?
On all accounts?
It's coming from me, so
it's not like you to fire out erroneous information.
Now, this gets even spicier. Knowing they're going to miss Bergeron, all of a sudden, look at this. Linus Ullmark, your assumed Vezina winner for the season, maybe not playing. Game time decision as he was in game 1. If it was a stomach bug game 1, this feels like maybe he ain't 100. Never mind the flu, but injury?
Bad fruit basket.
If my Baba were a Bruins fan, she'd be saying, "Oi, oi, oi." That's what she'd be saying.
Oof,
2 big pieces.
Not ideal for the Bruins, so eyes on that one tonight. Okay, Rhett, tough times in the North. A Woj bomb and a Boomer bomb early this morning. Whoa. Nick Nurse is done and out as the head coach of the Toronto Raptors.
Lucky bastard.
Paid to not work. We're all jealous.
Yeah,
nothing says you've been fired like a thank you montage of photos.
What the hell does a NBA coach make anyway? 5 to 10?
I would think that's reasonable. I mean, the college guys are making that at the big programs. NBA coaches' salaries. Gonna miss him, Rhett, or what?
Hey, I think we should honor him. Won us a championship. Brought the North a championship. So, yes. And he was good.
Absolutely.
I liked him. Had some personality. Wasn't afraid to guffaw and chortle. I liked him.
Me too.
Greg Popovich,
I don't know about his
a year.
I'm not sure about his X's and O's and his practices, but seemed like a good dude.
Top 3 paid coaches in the NBA this year. Greg Popovich, $11.5 million a year for the Spurs. Steve Kerr with the Warriors, $9.5 a year. Doc Rivers of the Sixers, $8.5 a year.
Like, how long has Popovich been making $10 million in San Antonio? Like 30 years?
He's been there forever. Yeah. I don't know how long he's been making that kind of dough. That seems like
he was there when I went and watched them play in a playoff game with the Shoveler.
I believe that.
Before we were married.
He's had multiple dynasties, I believe. That's how long he's been in San Antonio. But it's not been long. He's been making 11.5. I'll tell you that. 6th on the list was Nurse. He was making 8 even a year.
Boy, I remember those days. You and the Shoveler. It was like paparazzi, media following you around. It was a highly publicized relationship.
It was.
Affleck and J-Lo.
People were pulling up those old naked photos.
That's right.
A-Rod and Madonna. Yeah. Of you or her? What's the website? Yeah, just
so
a high-profile couple.
So it's disturbing how many naked photos there are of you floating around. God, put some clothes on. Jesus.
So the Oakland A's, we told you yesterday, they're moving to Las Vegas. They're done there.
The streak in high school.
Streak.
Would you streak?
Oh,
I had a buddy in college. I swear to God, he had a problem with streaking. He loved doing it so much. And his girlfriend would be like, listen, if we're going out tonight, you have to promise. You have to promise me. I don't know. I don't know, babe, if I can. I don't know if I can do it. Well, then we're not going. Then I'm not going. Okay, babe. Okay. And I just remember every time, because it's the school year. It's cold outside. I just remember every friggin' time we would go out, he'd drop his drawers and he'd be running around. You're like picking up his clothes and he'd come in one door, go out the other. And like when the doors open, all the steam kind of comes into the friggin' bar room. He'd go out some emergency exit. He had a problem with it. Yeah. He loved it.
He's snow angeling in the snowbanks and.
Oh man. And he would shave his head right down to the wood. And you could see he'd come flying out of the bathroom or whatever, and you could see his bald head like over the crowd on the dance floor, and people like, oh, for Jesus Christ, oh God, oh jeez. Boom, out the emergency exit, he's gone. It's like, you go get his clothes and I'll put him in the car so he doesn't freeze to death. Jesus. It's like Warner.
It is.
Were you that
bad? If you were building an all-star roster of party animals, likes to street guy is a weapon. Like it's a lot, it's exhausting, but it's never boring. Like I know
never
one
boring,
likes to street guy. It's like,
but he can.
One on the roster, never boring.
They can ruin your time. They can ruin your night. It's like it's only 11 and we've got to go.
No, you don't. You just leave them, let him run around naked. What the hell do you care?
It's so cold.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make sure he's got a blanket, that's great. You get your ass back
in the house. He doesn't have to be outside.
Miss that guy.
So the Oakland Athletics leaving Oakland, as I was saying, going to Vegas.
Oh, is that?
And there's only really one reason why: shitty ownership.
Money.
And this tweet from a major league reporter, I think, was an amazing. I don't know if the timing was perfect or what, but here's a list of the teams that have possums in the press box. To his research, so there's the whole Major League Baseball on the left, with the A's being the only ones that do, have possums in the press box. Now, that's a lot of data, Rhett, and I use the term Venn diagram a lot, so even more helpful, this fine gentleman on Twitter, there's your Venn diagram. Possums and broadcasters only coexist in Oakland. It's got away with graphics. Isn't that beautiful?
Little buggers, aren't they?
Are they the ones that hang by their tails? Is that possums?
Yeah. They got nasty looking
What's
teeth.
The Groundhog Day animal?
That's a tough one. I'm going to pass on that. Yeah. So, there's the two circles overlap. That's where both of the things are present together. So possums and broadcasters only in Oakland.
Yeah. So then how long before the NBA is there? Because I already got remember it felt like they were going to be the first ones that were going to be there. It was Bettman in a race with the NBA who was going to get there first. And then you talk canary in the coal mine, the hockey team shows up, they're a rousing success, and then everybody else has got to be like, well, if the hockey team can do it, then for sure we can do it. So
I thought that the NBA would beat the NHL back to Seattle. It's been ages, and that's a phenomenal basketball market. I don't know why there isn't more talk of that. There's some actually really, really small man markets in the NBA. Like
they're
New Orleans
just so,
is tiny.
You know what though?
Charlotte,
they're so high. They're so high in Seattle. It's like, we'll get to it, man. We'll get to it. What's your rush, man?
What's the third largest city in America?
Yeah.
Third? Chicago, Greater Chicago? Houston?
Used to be. Houston now. It's Houston.
They got a basketball team. They don't have possums in their press box.
Hockey? You got hockey? Basketball?
Great rink for hockey. Awesome rink for hockey. Don't need to build one.
Slap fight?
Major League Pickleball? Major League Cricket? Retro, your weekend plans include Major League Baseball in New York, where the Blue Jays and the Yankees square off. Walk us through the slate this weekend. Today's a game day, Saturday's a game day, Sunday's a game day. Kikuchi, Manoah, Gosman against Herman, Cole, and Schmidt.
Somewhat concerned with the weather outlook for tomorrow. Should be at the game tonight. I'm not. Got to coach kids hockey for sake. Early flight out tomorrow morning. Drop the bag at the hotel. Get my Judge jersey on and my Blue Jays hat on. Head down to the ballpark. What do you...
Do not go anywhere near the bleachers. You are going to get absolutely heckled like you've never heard in your life if you try to go Jay's hat.
He's wearing his Yankee gear. He's fibbing. He's fibbing to all of us. He's wearing that Yankee gear. No, we saw him. Remember he pulled up to Yankee Stadium there. He went and bought the jersey and had the hat on. Not a boy.
Gonna watch guys.
Are you taking the train? You gonna take the train with all the common folks?
Oh, in the city, like the subway.
Subway,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. It's fun.
Got it. Sweet. Calgary FC last night, Canadian Championship. Any Canadian team, professional, semi-pro, MLS, CPL, other, all squaring off in a big bracket. Winner takes all. You're the champs of Canada. They started with a tough matchup. Pacific. This is 1-1 to kicks we go. Calgary's, I believe, Joe Nelson.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Go ahead.
Cavalry's center back is
So they're out of the Canadian Championship, just like that. Cruel. Back and forth there.
Really?
Done. That's it. It's one and done. And stupid Pacific got the host. Bunch of jerks. You get a draw on the road in soccer? That should, come on now. Went to kicks. We'll play them again on Sunday in league play, not in Canadian Championship play. We'll wish them well there. So there's your, they win 5-3 on kicks, I believe. Good night, sweet prince. Marco Carducci.
Yeah, Shoveler's favorite player.
Their first home game be April 30th. That is not this weekend. The following one, Tommy going to be on next Thursday on the program. Finally, got some video sent from Rob Ray. Now, you would remember, Dino, way back, Rob Ray referenced the Warner family reunion. And I don't know if it was a joke or if he'd actually attended or only heard stories, but some video has surfaced. I don't know what year this was, Rhett, where you took the show on the road, or if this is back in Saskatchewan, but this is a monster truck going through a puddle at the Warner reunion. Now, what year is this, Rhett? Walk us through what's happening.
It's early 90s. The grandma's still got her license at that time. She's behind the wheel there, giving her.
Gladys. It's just outside of Frontier.
No, Cadillac. That's Cadillac, Pontex area.
Yeah. I think it's going pretty good here, but we don't know how deep it is. And now this is where it seems like, what were you feeling at this point? Was it still grandma in control at the wheel?
I was high. Did you see that smoke that just went up? That was me just blasting Jays.
Yeah, this is before the base.
Water's coming in the doors there.
Gladys was getting concerned at this
Looks clean, too.
Oh, boy.
So we're good. Now this getting out part's going to be, oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I don't remember that. I was so high.
You don't remember it. It feels memorable. Good times, though. Good times.
Yeah.
Where's
I just couldn't get everyone together, isn't it, Rhett?
There's
Stu was in Red Deer. Stu was in Red Deer. I got pictures of Stu and my brother. They were watching the Blades and the Rebels play.
Yeah.
Red Deer up 3-1 in that series, by the way, fellas.
Apparently, that
Blades
guy got that top guy got absolutely schmucked, laid out in the Lind or Ling for Red Deer. Not good. Out on the ice. No good.
These pace, don't like that. The western side of the bracket already through. Seattle swept their opponent. Ditto Kamloops. They're waiting in the Western Conference Final. A little better. We got Winnipeg Moose Jaw, I believe, in the one bracket in the East, and the other one 3-1 Red Deer. Obviously, I'm very excited. That's your Pender Report.
Brought to you by Village Honda. Get your piece of the $1 Million Buy It event. Cash for your vehicle. They'll buy yours, even if you don't buy theirs. Sellers receive a tropical cruise for two, exclusively at Village Honda in the Northwest Auto Mall. Online, villagehonda.com. They are your dealership for life. Didn't know that you... So was that your grandma's? Was that her monster truck, or did you guys rent that, or where do you get one?
Wow, we converted an old grain truck into that baby for the weekend.
Sure. Yeah,
we're at stock tires. I know that. Yeah.
How many friggin' people are in that thing?
That looks like my pontoon boat on my brother's bachelor party at Emma Lake. We're driving, and speaking of Stu, this boat, it's party boat. We're leaving the bar, heading back home, and we're cruising. And I look over the side, and there's about this much float.
Oh boy!
Before we dig into the front, and Stu's like, "I better take over."
Yeah. Well, 2,000 beers do weigh a lot.
Yeah. Too many.
Well,
people.
the good news though is that so many people weren't wearing clothes. That's what kept them buoyant. If they'd been wearing clothes, they would have sunk for sure.
I put together a little something, and now it's obviously NHL playoffs, and we're always very hockey focused, and we get dialed in on the hockey, but also the basketball is going. And we've talked about this in the past because there's just no better broadcast analyst show, desk, whatever you want to call it, than what the NBA has on TNT. And ESPN, they've got Paul Bissonnette, and they're trying to recreate it.
No,
they're trying to.
It's TNT.
Is it TNT for them? Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay,
Yeah,
so I mean,
ESPN's
everyone's.
Yeah.
Because I saw the other night they had Chelios on there and Mark Messier, and they're trying. Everyone's trying to recreate what the TNT broadcast is for the NBA. It's Ernie Johnson is the host. Kenny Smith is to his right. And then you've got Shaq and Charles Barkley. And again, you can't force what they have. They just have a playful relationship. They get along. They're both very good. And they're not deep into the playoffs. But already, here's a little bit of a best of Charles Barkley, Shaq from the TNT broadcast.
What kind of balls are those?
I'm going to tell you something. If y'all drop ping pong balls on my head.
How did y'all know he would say the word ping pong? They made me do it.
And we're just doing a good job of having good spacing.
Derek White, 26 points in this one, 11 out of 16 from the floor, 2 out of 5.
Yes, sir. Captain Ernie, Is that Derek White or Stephen A? Damn, Derek. We love you, Stephen A.
I join you in the head shake.
Yes, sir. Damn, Stephen A. Stephen A. played for the Celtics. He do first take in the morning and play for the Celtics.
Guys averaging 25 points a game in the series.
25 a game.
And here these guys going like this.
That's all about Isaac. Yeah. But you know what the crazy part about that is?
What?
Yeah, he combing like that. That's the crazy part about it.
He's talking about the crazy part about Derek White's game is
that could be Malcolm Brogdon.
Shaq is dying.
That could be what?
Malcolm Brogdon doing the same exact thing that he's done. Like, they have two guys that have the same advantage as these two guys.
You'll never find a hairline like mine. Hey, come on, man.
I get what you're saying.
Hey, man, y'all act like y'all didn't notice that.
I get what you're saying, Kenny.
Y'all act like y'all never seen Derek White ever in your life.
I never seen it like that. I'm kind of juggling two balls right here. Because on one hand, I'm
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm really proud of what the Grizzlies did. I mean, that made me proud to be a basketball player. Like, hey, let's just go and compete and see what happens.
And then we've got the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets to close it out. Charles, you have this befuddled look on your face, like.
Yeah, I have a problem with that game starting at 10:30. I do have a problem with that.
It's not going to be starting at 10:30 in Denver.
7:30.
It's not the point.
It is the point.
It's not the point. Listen, man, we had the whole day to ourselves. We should have played 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock. To have that last game at 10:30 Eastern, just wrong. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, that's your opinion.
No, I know. It's my opinion. I told you my opinion. They should not be starting that game at 8:30 Denver time.
So you can whine all you want. You want some cheese with that wine today?
No, I'm not whining. I'm just saying, listen.
Be excited, Chuck.
I'm excited for the game, but I just don't think it's fair to have them playing that late.
All right, well, take your old ass to bed.
Hey, I'm not going to bed. I'll be here. No, it's just wrong. Listen, we got to have some respect for the fans at some point. It ain't fair for the people in Denver to be playing at 8:30 at night, and they got to go to school tomorrow, so stop it.
Cool.
Alonzo Mourning, Mark Eden, Dikembe, and you really have to say, well, I got to beat two guys. And so would you quit waving non-defender?
You ain't put me on that list?
No, you're not a defender. No.
So I wasn't a shot blocker.
You wasn't.
Underdog, where'd I rank in shot blocker? I'm in the top 10.
Because you're big as hell than everybody else.
Okay, so put me on that damn list.
No, you weren't a shot blocker. I wasn't looking at you like that.
Bro, I'm in the top 10.
You just big and ugly, but that's another story for another time. I can't
Look at those things, man.
I can't have those.
Why?
Because remember, I cheated today with the donuts.
Come on, you can have a
No,
purple churro.
you know I'm fasting.
He's fasting.
You weren't fasting this afternoon.
I can't cheat twice.
Just take a bite.
Hot,
Those things are warm, man. Hey, one bite.
Just one bite.
I ate a whole donut today. Shout out to the Dunkin' Donut people, too. That were really awesome.
Take one, Chuck.
Give me a little piece.
Chuck, take one.
Come on, man. I'm going to take a little piece. Ken ate a piece of my fish tonight.
Here you go. If you had to describe it in one word, what would you say?
Kind of like you are right now, a little bit impatient.
Oh, get him, Chuck. Get him, Chuck. Get him, Chuck.
Oh, Chuckster! Oh! What could this possibly be, Chuck?
Off hands, Chuck. Put that hand in there. Come on. Now you being so soft. Put your hand in there, Chuck. Stop looking. No peeking.
Go in there.
Put your hand in there. Both hands.
Oh my God. No, it ain't just not going.
No, it's something in there, man. It's something in there, man.
I'll put my hands in it. Nothing.
There's nothing in there.
Ain't
Ain't nothing in
gonna
there.
hurt you.
Put your
I
hand
looked
in
at it,
there,
ain't gonna
Chuck.
hurt you.
Hey, man, there's something in there.
Speaking of that guy named James, Chuck's, what's up? Because we do want to show the James Harden play.
And I want to see it again before I say something.
Oh, perfect. Thanks for holding your fire. Okay, here we go. Royce O'Neal defending Harden. And a shot to the groin. Ooh, another look.
Well, see, the key to this play is, Ernie, you can't hit him in the groin. You got to kick him in the groin. Then you won't get
Because if you kick
him, you can get away with it.
get a flagrant one and stay in the
Yes,
game.
exactly right. So kids at home, do not hit guys in their junk. Kick them in the junk.
Sending them into the playoffs.
I'm Rudy Gobert. You can't hit somebody and run backwards. You can't hit somebody and run backwards.
Run backwards.
Ampier puts the basketball in Ricky's face. Barkley swings. Oh, Barkley did not like.
That's what's happening.
That's one of the greatest of all time.
I'll tell you,
Not
man, that's
They're what, a half round in? Jeez.
right. And
Like,
part
that's
of it
playing
is
still.
they were talking about the Stephen A thing. It's 1 o'clock in the morning by the time they're doing that, so you're punch drunk and tired and giddy, and you can't stop laughing. But they have something so special there with those two guys. How do you turn it off if it's halftime? You're not going away from that.
No.
You might miss something unbelievable. Yes.
Might tune in.
It's special stuff. And I feel for everybody that their job from some executive, well, do what they do on the NBA with Shaq and Charles. Do what they do. We want it to be funny, and you can't recreate that. Those are two unique and special humans.
TNT's done a great job with their hockey. Last year, I happened to be in the States in June, and so it was Eastern Conference, Western Conference, back and forth, alternating nights. And the ESPN one, it's just like, this is just, you can see what they're trying to do. It ain't working. Messier, we talked about it. Great player, horrible quote. Chelios and PK, it feels like he's trying too hard. That panel did not work for me. And then every other night, you get Biznasty and Gretzky and Rick Tocchet at the time. It was phenomenal. It wasn't the NBA broadcast, but I mean, it's night and day, the ESPN to TNT. The TNT's, they're close in terms of like having maybe the best panel in hockey for comedy, some laughs. And I don't know that we'll ever get that in Canada. It's too serious a thing, but Biznasty's hilarious. We know that from the podcast. And Wayne's been way better than I thought he'd be.
Well, and the thing there is, Wayne likes Bissonnette. That's the key to that whole thing working. Because if Wayne isn't down with the dumb stuff that Biz is going to do, then it's probably just awkward and it doesn't work. But you can tell he's genuinely entertained by them. Remember, where was it where Biz came in and read the starting lineup for the Oilers during the playoffs last year? They're traveling together on the private jet and doing stuff together. So that there's some hope there. But I don't know. I love Charles. I'm a sucker for him. And you're right. Three-quarters of a round. I don't know how far they are in, but it's must-watch TV kind of stuff. That should see Retro. That's what you should be doing. Having churros and running around.
I'll be good with churros. Absolutely. The chocolate dip sauce, maybe some caramel.
Yeah. I'm very, I don't have a lot of experience in the churro world.
It's fried dough and it's tasty.
Yeah, I've just never had.
Put some sugar on it.
Yeah.
I haven't had a lot of churros. You know what is mini donuts basically, right?
Similar vibes, yeah. Be a little crispier and maybe some cinnamon, yeah.
And they're not round.
I was thinking about buying one of those trucks one time.
Or
like
like
one of those mini donut trailers, right? And you just haul it around and then you. Oh God!
Get the ice cream bucket full.
Yeah.
You would have had a happy life, but it would be over by now, Dean, if you did that.
Well, it's almost over as it is, but yeah. God.
said
Can you
that 10
imagine
years
if you
ago.
just had one of those? If you just had a mini donut truck in your driveway at all times? It's like, God.
Yeah, you die in 2 years. Yeah.
Probably takes a while for that oil to heat up and stuff, but man, that cinnamon sugar, I could, put me in a bathtub with that cinnamon sugar and just roll me around. Delicious.
Gross.
Right? Hey?
Oh, thanks. You ask the person you live with to do that. I'm not.
Yeah, roll yourself around, Dean. Sorry.
She'd be more disgusted than you. Trust me. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. We mentioned it yesterday. Be watching our social media accounts for FlamesNation. FlamesNation on Instagram and Twitter. Whitney Cummings. Stand-up comedian, one of the best, not just female, but one of the best stand-ups working today. She's going to be at the Greagle on Tuesday. There you see it, April 25th. We've got a pair of tickets, or maybe 2 pair of tickets. Either way, get in on the contest, and we will be awarding those tickets, obviously, prior to Tuesday. May announce it on Monday. And then next week, we got more tickets to give away. So we're pumped to be a part of things, as always, with Grey Eagle. A lot of events coming. Check out their website. Tickets available at ticketmaster.ca for all events in the event center. And it's the weekend. If you're thinking, well, what could we do? Do something different. Why don't you go play the piano? Hey, a little money down, have some drinks, have a good time. You never know who might show up and start doing some high kicks on top of the stage bar. You just never know. Anything can
And if
happen.
you're like Jack, I mean, they might just give you 2 drinks every time you order one. Just hands full. Let's go.
Every time I went to get a drink, they gave me 2. That's not how it goes, but by all means, still go to the Grey Eagle. Whitney Cummings on Tuesday. Betway Bets of the day. In a moment, want to remind you about Jasper Travel before we tap out here. Hard to think about it today. It's all wet and gross, but camping. If you're a camper, do you like camping, Rhett?
Love camping.
Tent, or do you need a trailer?
How many days?
Weekend. 3 nights.
3 is too many. Need a camper. 2 nights in a tent. Possible.
Okay.
A little
'Cause I was
funky
thinking
after
long
2.
weekend. Yeah. Well, either way, you can plan your summer camping trip. Yeah.
That's the number.
Maybe you want to do only 2 days. You can reserve your front and back country spots now. The Jasper Sky Tram is open. The golf course will be opening in about a month's time. But as we speak, the spring skiing is in full swing. Open until May 1st at Marmot Basin. Warmer temperatures obviously makes the experience delightful. The escape card still available. Half-price lift tickets across the board. And we mentioned the Marmot Basin Cirque. Vast and impressive new terrain above the tree line. Bowls and chutes. Chutes and bowls up at the Marmot Basin Cirque. Travel Jasper. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful part of the world.
Patio season. Let's go. Après ski is unreal.
Yeah. What are we doing for the weekend, men? What's happening?
Going to New York City.
Right?
It'll be tough to beat
2
that.
nights? Yeah. Where are you staying?
Yeah, right.
Can't say. Hey, can't say.
Hotel Manhattan.
Give us a Are you? It's Manhattan. Or are you in the Garment District? Are you near Times Square? Are you by the park?
I actually have never stayed at the hotel we're staying at, so it's a new experience for me.
Good for you. Trying new stuff.
Yeah, getting
anything
out there.
Anything planned beyond the ball game? Obviously, you're not going to Madison Square Garden. I think we've pretty much covered that.
I don't think I am. I'd love to, if
a show.
Depending, if I can, I'd go to 2 games, and I might go to a show. But if I can get 2 ball games in, I'll be happy.
Yeah, go see some comedy, try out some restaurants, find some speakeasies,
Coffee
drink
club
till the
might be good
sunrises.
on Saturday night. Did you go to that Book of Mormon?
I think I did when it passed. It would have been like, what, 5 years ago that was red hot? I think it was bleeping hilarious.
I've seen it twice. It's outstanding.
Yeah, I might go to that.
Yeah, it's
Do that.
outstanding. And I know you can book tickets online, and that's pretty much how you have to do it, because the Comedy Cellar is kind of the legendary one in New York, and it's always full. Probably even if you went today to get tickets, but you never know who might drop in. That's one of those places where it's, please welcome Chris Rock. So, what? Could happen. No, truly, that's kind of the thing.
You want to come up and grab the mic?
Well, that's what Joe Rogan opened a new joint down in Austin, and the people were there the other night, and Bill Burr stopped in to do a set.
Come on.
That's what these guys do. A lot of the comedians that do the full hours on Netflix or HBO, they got to work their shit out. So they'll just kind of, hey, can I get on? So they'll bump some ham and egger. And then, truly, that's Kevin Hart or whoever. Jerry Seinfeld has done that a bunch, where they just kind of pop in, do a quick 5-6 minutes, and they're out. So there you go.
Matt, if you were there and Seinfeld or something like that dropped in,
yeah,
cool.
For sure. Okay, let's do our Betway Bets. Get the Betway app on your phone. Playoff basketball, playoff hockey, obviously. Baseball. Are you gonna put a wager down on the game you're at tomorrow? That always makes it more fun. You're at the game.
Now, do you have in front of you what's the over/under for Rhett on beers? Is it 6.5 of those tall, clear glasses?
I got right torqued the last time I went to the game, to the point where probably was over a graph. I was just so excited to be at the ballpark again.
Yeah.
Knowing I got a chance to go to 2, I think I'm going to be a little bit tamer. I found the bar as well, the bar where you can get a real drink. So I'm thinking a couple of beer and then a couple of well drinks.
I went one time and StubHub or whatever, and wasn't planning on going to the game. Went, I was like, I got nothing else to do. Let's go to the game. Like last minute went on StubHub, and they were, at the time, it was the Audi club seats. And they were like $20-30 a seat. That's a club.
Come on.
Like it would be okay. Oh yeah. It was torqued. Is that the word you? Torqued.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was that free food, Bev, or not that high?
It was not quite that, but yeah, it was pretty good. Yep, they were.
That is the move. If you ever get a chance, buy tickets in the second inning. They get real cheap.
Yeah.
I would rather have something than nothing. I'll take 20.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Betway Bets. Betway not condoning any of that kind of behavior. They want you to be responsible. That's the thing about Betway. Please be responsible. Here's our bets of the day. The round 1 action. I took some of the pre-built bets on the app.
Yep.
Marty Natchez and Jason Robertson both to get a point, plus 130. Now, Dallas on the road. Carolina looked pretty good through 2 games, but I'll take the plus 130. And then a little Barkov and Boldy. There again, both to get 1 point or more, plus 120. If you go into the app, they have a bunch of those pre-built bets. And as far as the points, they're not picking plumbers. They are giving you some very good players, star caliber players. So if you hit on some of these, you start to, that old bankroll starts to get fat in a hurry. Those are my Betway bets.
Like what you're thinking, Dane. I'm going the same way, just maybe a little more risque as I'm going goals, not just points. We'll start with Leon Draisaitl and Kirill Kaprizov. Those are 2 guys you're comfy scoring with. It's Kirill at home for the Wild, and Draisaitl was just leading the universe in goals in the playoffs. So yeah, plus 300 there. Love that number. And then how about this? Boston and Florida be the highest scoring game of the night. Okay, so Islanders, Carolina, that's probably low scoring, I guess. Dallas, Minnesota, Gustafsson back. That could be lower scoring. little worried about LA Edmonton, but how about this? Olmark, game time decision. Alex Lyon. Both these teams have put up a big number already. That's the highest scoring game of the night, plus 245.
Betway Bets. Get the Betway app on your phone. Be responsible. 19 years of age and over in Ontario and all that sort of stuff. Thank you to Betway. Well, have a great weekend to you, Retro. Take some photos. Give us some vids. Come back with some stories. Looking forward to talking to you next week. Everyone else, obviously, have a great weekend. I wonder, in terms of the Calgary Flames, when, not that we're really waiting for any news, we obviously expect, it seems at this point, that Daryl's going to be back. There's nothing confirmed, but I just wonder when some news might start to trickle out.
Do we hear from Daryl? Or would he just say, nah, I don't need a season-ending availability?
I would think he'd say,
typically you hear from the coach.
We don't need one.
Yeah.
And if you're doing an exhaustive search, it should be a while because a lot of the teams are still going, and you're not going to pluck guys right now.
Yeah, Donald already talked about it. It's not a super pressing timeline on the GM front, but definitely you want to get your list together.
All right, buddies. Thanks for being a part of the Barn Burner. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Oilers suck.